universe can be overwhelming. Danielle offers her hand as a guide into what we call the unknown. Travel with her as she endeavors to untangle the threads of not only our dimension, but of those beyond.
Hello everyone and welcome this evening. I'm quite excited. I have two amazing guests that are coming today to be here, part of Diva's Dimension. First of all, I must say I'm having back on my great friend, the person that I love, admire, respect so much, the person that is a big researcher, author, him and his wife, we can say, live X-Files, basically, Scully and Mulder. Welcome, Mr. Paul Hill Roberts. I'm glad you tried to add him to the so just give me a more issue here. I don't know what's happening. Come on, Paul. Okay, wait. I'm trying to add Paul, ladies and gentlemen. Something is happening today. I even got kicked out to the basically just all the screen and everything disappeared, and I was just like, why I cannot have, okay, here we go. I'm sure we're gonna get Paul back on.
Hi Danielle, I see you.
Yeah,
and I see
I can see you, Paul, and I'm trying to okay, save, and it's saying add, so I'm not sure what's happening here. There we go. I'm so sorry, but welcome, Paul. Welcome, my dearest friend. I'm sorry. I cannot control the internet. I wish I could, but I can't. You know, I'm quite amazed always to have you here with me. You know, you're an amazing friend, a person that I love, admire so much, you know, inspire me with so much of my work. You will be inside of my book. You know, I'm quite excited to, you know, have you in my corner. I respect you and your wife dearly and your entire family.
Thank you so much.
I know, you know, we're gonna bring. You're welcome. I know you recommended somebody that I also really admire a lot. Somebody who is Emmy Award video producer, author, winner. Is a writer of a number of the popular books, including the Lost Journals of Nikola Tesla. So I know a lot about Nikola Tesla. That's my background. America's Strange and Supernatural History, Time Travel, Fact No Fiction, and many others. Photojournalist that they visit so many different kind of, you know, paranormal sites. He's a History Channel, Ancient Aliens, and Latin America, Contacto Extraterrestre. I'm trying to pronounce that. I'm sure I don't know Spanish, but I'm trying. But without me speaking and without me yapping too much, I'm gonna bring somebody that I'm so excited to have here, ladies and gentlemen, and that would be also Mr. Tim.
Hi Danielle. Hi Paul.
Tim.
Hey Tim, how you doing?
Hey.
You know, welcome to Diva's Dimension. You know, it's my honor, my pleasure to have you here. You know, all of our followers are so excited to have you here. You know, I wish you were there in Texas. I was like, oh, I know Paul's sons live in Texas. Because like, say hi to my son, Daniel. So, you know, we had amazing time at the conference. Many wonderful speakers were there. You know, I was there with my crew, Texas Front Porch. I really did enjoy every moment of it, and we are becoming, I can say, bigger and stronger. And I can say, on behalf of my team and on behalf of Diva's Dimension, that we are really honored tonight that we have you, Tim, and of course that we have you, Paul. So welcome, gentlemen, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Danielle, for having us. And it's nice seeing Tim again. I love seeing his big smile.
Well, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Danielle, for.
Tim, I have more. If we go up, yes. Go ahead. I'm excited. Go ahead.
No. I just wanted to say thank you very much for having me as your guest tonight. I really appreciate it.
And it's my pleasure. I should say, and Paul knows me a little bit better, if I take my laptop from the studio and we go up there, I have both of your guys' books on my shelves. Be always behind, thinking about extraterrestrials, about unknown. I'm wondering, Tim, if you can tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, let's see here. As you said at the beginning of the program, through most of my career, I was in television as a really practically everything. As a videographer, a producer, director, reporter, even did a little weather at one of my earliest jobs just right out of college years ago. But my great love really for a large portion of my life has been the investigation and research of the world of the weird. Practically every aspect of it, from ghosts, UFOs, cryptids, anything. I've been fascinated by it. I was kind of drugged, kicking and screaming into it when I was a kid, not because I saw something or had a weird experience, but because I was given a classroom assignment one time to do a report about UFOs based on some newspaper headlines. Everybody in the class was given, different headlines to do a report on, and I just happened to draw UFOs. I had nothing to do with it, and I had no knowledge or interest in UFOs at that time. But after I gave my report in front of the class, I was then pegged as the flying saucer guy. I was the guy who believed in, little green men from Mars and stuff like that. And like I said, I didn't have that much interest in it. But because of that, people would come to me and want to tell me their stories. Wanting to tell me that, say, their family was on vacation and they saw a UFO, or they, saw their great Aunt Matilda, who had died 2 weeks previously, appear at the foot of their bed. And that's really what got me interested in all of this. Was, the stories are always interesting, of course, but it was that human element to it. The fact that there are people, probably everybody, at least one time in their life will have some kind of strange experience, and most people have no idea how to handle it. It's a little bit more common knowledge nowadays, but when I got started, unless you read paperback books or maybe saw In Search Of on television, most people had no real knowledge about ghosts, UFOs, or anything like that. So a lot of people were just looking for a friendly shoulder to cry on, somebody who they could tell their story to and not judge them, not tell them that they were crazy or laugh at them, because most people, they have no idea who to talk to about these kinds of experiences. They know not to tell people that they work with or even family members, because they'll just get teased, right out of their home. But I offered people that chance to tell their stories, not judge them, and confirm that other people have had similar experiences and know they're not crazy. That's the main thing. So many people, they think that they've lost it. They have a weird experience and they don't know how to categorize it in their brain. Because, we all have daily experiences that we put into that big filing system in our head. You get up, have your coffee, drive to work, come home, eat dinner, watch television, go to bed. Say something weird happens to them. You're going to work and a flying saucer lands in front of you and little guys come out, collect rocks and plants and get back in. How do you file that away in your head? I've never had that experience before. It's not something that I've heard other people having it. I must be crazy. So I reassure them that, you probably did have, a real experience. I really can't tell you the meaning behind it or, what exactly happened. It was a weird experience, and no, you're not crazy. And you can just see a lot of times the weight that's lifted off of their shoulders when they're able to have that confirmation. And they may never, ever tell anybody else that story again. But at least now they know that they're not alone. And and that's one of the guiding principles that has stayed with me all through my life and all through my research and investigations, is that people have weird experiences and they shouldn't be afraid to confront them and admit their emotions, their fears and doubts about that kind of experience, and not be afraid. And I use that a lot of times in my work and my writing.
And I must say, because we had some issues and difficulties connecting, because we are all coming from different countries, I should say, neighboring countries. I'm in Canada, both of you gentlemen are in the United States, but we are having followers from different continents, and I want to say welcome to everybody. And again, it's my pleasure to have two amazing gentlemen this evening with me, and that's my great friend Paul Dale Roberts. You guys know how much I love and respect this gentleman. I love his family and his wife. My heart goes down to him. And then I have amazing Tim Swartz with us this evening. He's going to share some of his wisdom about Stardust, about Green Men, about some of his photojournalism, and much more. He told us a little bit about how he got involved when it's coming to paranormal connection to the stars, extraterrestrials. I would like to ask you something, Tim, if you don't mind. Reading your books, I'm always interested, also a lot of times I see different kind of pictures and photojournalism, and I did see you do a lot of photos too. And as I was going through your biography, some of the, photojournalism that you did is quite amazing. Would you like to share a little bit about that? And if you can tell us about experience like that was really special to you when it's coming to photojournalism, something like, for example, when it's coming to the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt.
The majority of the work that I did in television really didn't involve anything of the paranormal. It was a lot of like a news gathering, business types of stories. But what I did do is that every opportunity that I had when I traveled outside of the United States, or really in the United States as well, is that I would try to get a hold of contacts that I had previously had when I would have the opportunity to do some investigation on a local level wherever I was visiting. So say like in Egypt, I met up with people who had spent decades looking at all of the mysteries about ancient Egypt and on the Giza plateau, the various pyramids and some of the less well known types of monuments that existed there. I'll tell you one kind of a weird experience that I had when I was inside the Great Pyramid was that we had the opportunity to go into the pyramid early in the morning before it was open to the rest of the tourists. We actually had a government liaison who was with us that got us inside. And if you're in what's called the King's Chamber, which is it's really just there's not much there. There's a granite what they call a sarcophagus that actually has like a big chunk out of one of the corners taken away. But the roof is really just blank. There's no hieroglyphics or anything like that on it. When I stood there, and you have to understand, I mean, I don't have any kind of psychic abilities as far as I know. I've always been rather just the opposite. A lot of times, like if I will go to a place that is supposedly haunted, then the ghosts and boogies tend to stay as far away from me as possible. But in this occasion, I actually I touched this sarcophagus, and I had, it's really hard to describe, but it was almost like I was having an experience of somebody else's life that lived in ancient Egypt and was actually part of the construction of the pyramid. And it was almost, when you have a dream, and in that dream, it seems like that it goes on for hours and days. That's how this was. I actually felt like that I was in this state for several days, and the memory didn't really come back with me too much. But I was left with the impression that I was experiencing somebody else's lives, felt their emotions, was part of the work crew, and no aliens involved or anything like that. I mean, I saw them moving these blocks around using some of the techniques that like the modern engineers are saying that they use, but I was more left with the emotional impressions that this person had. And then when I came out of it, it was only like a matter of just a couple of seconds had gone by. And periodically, these mental images will come back to me. Something will happen. I'll get a feeling, or I'll smell something that will invoke this memory, and I'll get a little bit more information. But it's always just kind of, like a dream. When you wake up for a dream, you're left with maybe the emotions. A lot of the details have gone away, and that's the way this situation was. And I always found it kind of odd, because like I said, I've never been really a psychic person, and other people who were there with me, they touched the walls, the sarcophagus as well, and as far as I know, nobody else had this kind of bizarre experience. But that one always left me with a lasting impression. Now, there was an instance one time where when I was working at a television station in Dayton, Ohio, that there had been a very famous poltergeist event that was going on in Columbus, Ohio. This would have been in 1982, 83, I think. And our station had reported on it, and then some people who were living in Springfield, Ohio, had called the station and said, we're having the same kind of experience. We don't really, we don't want any coverage on it, but maybe there was, you could help us find somebody who could tell us what's going on. So my assignment editor knew I was interested in this kind of stuff, and gave me their address. And I actually went over there with my camera gear. And, remember, this is the 1980s, so, the camera gear there then was, big, heavy, shoulder-held cameras. I had a separate recorder pack that took these big 3/4-inch tapes and big, huge NiCad batteries, nickel cadmium batteries that would power both the camera and the deck, separate batteries for each one. Went there, hoping maybe I could catch something. Had all this equipment with me, and almost as soon as I went into this house, all the batteries were dead. Nothing would work. And I, made sure that everything was charged beforehand. You don't do you don't do that kind of work without making sure that your batteries are charged. Everything was dead in just a matter of minutes. So what happened was that while we were sitting around discussing what was going on in this house, we heard like this very large bang, almost like somebody had taken like a board or something and hit the side of the house with it. And we're looking at each other, and from the ceiling, and there was nothing on the ceiling. There wasn't even a light, like a lot of living room ceilings have a light in the center. They didn't even have that. All from the center of the ceiling, small white rocks started to appear and fall down on the floor in front of us. And it's like, they would just appear and fall down, appear and fall down. And, we're all of us are flabbergasted. And the people who lived in the house, they were like, well, we've never seen that happen before. And so I gathered these rocks up, and they were just like little white rocks that you would find, say, like, in your driveway. Probably limestone. Looked exactly like the types of rocks that they had out in their driveway. So I took these rocks, and I remembered a story that was told to me, or told in a book from a guy by the name of Ivan Sanderson, who had a similar experience. And I took a magic marker, and I marked an X on all of these rocks, big black X. And then I went to the back door of the house, and they had a small backyard, and then on the other side of this yard was a cornfield. And this was late summer, so the corn was pretty high at this point. And I just went and chucked all of these rocks out into the cornfield as far as I could throw them. Came in, sat down, and within a matter of minutes, rocks started falling from the ceiling again, one after the other. And it was the same rocks that I had chucked out into the cornfield. So, and the funny thing about it is that afterwards, the people told me that was pretty much the end of the poltergeist activity in their house. It just kind of dissipated. It was like all the energy had been used that day to do this little trip for me, I guess. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to capture any of it, on camera because my batteries were dead.
Yeah. Wow. And me being a psychic and a medium and researcher myself, and you get shocked when something like that happens. And especially you're talking, the equipment already lost the power and everything. That's some of the first signs. 1980s, it's a little bit different equipment. I remember being very little, and my mother and my father would carry a camera so they could keep us when we were kids and playing. So it's much bigger, even like those cameras that we were having for home, not just like for professional, camera and recording ourselves. Paul, do you have anything that you would like to add, my friend, or that you would like to ask Tim and share with our viewers?
Well, one thing right now, I've been kind of keeping up with the Mexican Congress. They're having those hearings, and it seems like Jamie Mawson, who I used to communicate with on Facebook. He's still on my Facebook, but I guess he's a super busy man. But we used to communicate a lot about UFOs and stuff like that. But he brought out 2 coffin-type boxes, and inside those boxes were what looked like non-human extraterrestrials. And so some of our scientists are saying that is a fraud.
Wow.
Is a fraud. Is not real. I'm hoping it is real. I hope it's really disclosure by the Mexican government.
Me too.
Yeah. So, and then on the corpse.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, and they have 3 fingers on each hand. They have elongated heads. I don't know if you've seen them. Tim, have you seen them?
Oh yes, yes, and I'm very familiar with these bodies. When they first surfaced, oh gosh, it's been what, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when they were found in, I think it was Peru.
Nazca lines. They were found in Peru by
Yes.
the Nazca lines, and they're supposedly
Yes.
1,000 years old by the carbon dating process.
Yeah, we had.
Wow. And you know,
No, go ahead, Danielle.
Danielle, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, you know, I think all of us. Yeah, thank you, gentlemen. You know, I don't want to interrupt because I really want to listen to your wisdom and to your knowledge, and I admire you both very much. But I wanted to say, you know, I think all of us are watching really closely what's happening there, you know, and I'm getting reports daily what's happening here and there. And hopefully, like you're saying, you know, Paul, maybe we'll get more of the disclosure regarding, you know, all about those bodies or, you know, basically what's happening. You know, Tim, what do you think about that? You know, if you don't mind sharing a little bit of your wisdom and knowledge, what do you think? Is it possible that this is really the real thing, that it's not fake, and that we are getting closer and closer to, you know, opening the doors to another dimensions?
Yeah, it's you know, it's difficult to say. When these bodies first were discovered, like I said, it was about, you know, maybe 4